Buenos dias, buenos tardes. Breakfast with the King, day 7 of 365. Tenefa, Cambodia, Jody Rose, Jules, D Hint, everybody who's following or joining, if you would. Man, I had a midnight snack with the King as well last night, and it was fun. It was good. It was needed. I was kind of in my feelings, a lot in my feelings actually, and in doing so, a couple things happened. This is how the Lord works, right? I was reading and studying last night and this morning, and it just kind of pressed upon my heart last night to go back in my Bible and circle all the times that God said, I will to Abraham. I will do something, right? And most of the time it was, I will provide you with a son. I will make you the father of many nations. I will do this. And Abraham, in those conversations that happened, so he had 7 conversations face to face with God where God told him, I will. And every single time it felt like he was like, but I don't know if you really will. And he goes back again and he denies Sarah as his wife because he's scared to die. And it happens. And finally, God comes, he provides as he said he would. And Sarah, at the age of 99, has a son. They call him Isaac. Abraham was 100. They laugh, they cry, have a great time. And then in chapter 22, God comes to Abraham, and it says sometime later in chapter 22, verse 1, sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will tell you about later. And early the next morning, Abraham got up and he went. And I noticed that Abraham was good at taking direction from God. When God told him something, he just did it, okay? They started from the very beginning. Abraham, go. Okay, and so he went. And now we get here. Abraham, go sacrifice your son. Okay, I will. But for whatever reason, Abraham had a hard time believing God when God told him he would do something. And so it wasn't until that time he goes up to the mountain, and we know, right? And it's funny, right? We have the gift of hindsight. I know that Abraham has to have a son. I know that his son Isaac has to survive so that we can get to Jesus. I know these things. The gift of hindsight. Abraham had no clue, right? But he had enough faith to go up there, number one, which strengthened my faith quite a bit. And then number two, he had so many interactions with the Lord that as he's taking the knife up and going to plunge his son and sacrifice his one and only son, whom he loves, as he's about to bring the knife down, he hears God's voice say, Abraham, Abraham. And Abraham stops and says, here I am. And what hit me was, man, he recognized his voice. He may not always, his flesh, whatever, may have battled with him, and he may not always felt that God was there every single moment, but he recognized his voice. And I was just praying last night that, Lord, I just pray that I recognize your voice, man. That in the midst of it all, I recognize who you are and what you're doing. And that I trust you will provide. And so my prayer for all y'all today is that you hear his voice and that you understand he loves you so much he just loves you, man. Day 7. Love y'all.